Shamsul has brought his 5-year-old daughter to this field clinic in the Kutupalong Refugee Camp in Bangladesh. Nora's face is swollen and she's in pain. Shamsul and his family have lived in the camp for a year and a half since fleeing violence by the Myanmar military against the Rohingya in Rakhine state. And since August last year, around 700,000 Rohingya have fled the latest Myanmar military crackdown. The UN Human Rights Chief calls it textbook ethnic cleansing.
The military surrounded our house and started shooting from all sides. We were terrified, so we ran for our lives. My daughter was shot, but we had to keep running and leave her behind because the shooting was so heavy.
The UN and aid agencies say around $1 billion is needed for the Rohingya living in what is becoming the largest refugee camp in the world.
IOM alone is already treating 80,000 people a month. You know, these needs are only going to increase as monsoon approaches. We have to have preventative medicine. We have to deal with the very real dangers of waterborne disease. The funding has to be in place now to help protect people. Otherwise, we will see, you know, potentially preventable loss of life, and that's a very frightening prospect.
The mainly Muslim Rohingya had their citizenship taken away by what was then the Burmese government 35 years ago. Rights groups say the Rohingya have suffered decades of violence and persecution. They say the Myanmar military and mainly Buddhist mobs killed thousands of men, women and children, committed gang rape and destroyed hundreds of Rohingya villages in recent months. The Myanmar government denies the claim. It says it was responding to what it calls terrorist attacks by a Rohingya rebel group. A UN Security Council delegation is due to visit the refugee camps in Bangladesh before heading to Myanmar for what is expected to be a tightly controlled 2-day trip. The inability of the United Nations Security Council to take strong action against Myanmar is largely because of China's veto power. China has big business interests inside Myanmar and especially in Rakhine state. Myanmar so far has banned any independent investigation into alleged atrocities, and it seems highly unlikely that this visit by a United Nations Security Council delegation here will lead directly to Myanmar being called to account. But pressure is growing on Myanmar. The US State Department is leading an investigation into claims of extrajudicial killings, rape and arson by the Myanmar military. A repatriation plan by Bangladesh and Myanmar allowing refugees to voluntarily return has so far failed to get off the ground. Shamsul says he will never return to Myanmar unless the government guarantees his family's citizenship, security and the same rights as other citizens of the country he and his family are from. Stratford, Al Jazeera, Kutupalong Refugee Camp, Bangladesh.